This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 165, baby. Oh yeah. In today's episode, I speak to the one and only Hellraiser. Yes, that's right. And we speak about those furry four-legged animals. Dogs. I know we speak about dogs quite a lot, I suppose, on Rock and Roll English, mainly because of my feelings towards dogs, but I don't think we've ever done a full podcast about dogs. I say I don't think because I really can't remember what I've done episodes about now, but that's not important, is it? What is important is that there is lots, and I mean lots of rock and roll vocabulary. Some actual useful things as well today, really useful. Who would have thought it, hey, that you can learn useful pieces of vocabulary on this podcast? And you will find all of that rock and roll vocabulary on the website, rockandrollenglish.com, episode number 165. And remember, if you want a podcast every day with a transcript, rockandrollenglish.com/family, baby. I will speak to you all again at the end. Here is the conversation. Happy listening. Hellraiser, how are you today?
Very good, Martin. How are you doing?
Always fantastic, Hellraiser. Always fantastic. Especially now I'm talking to you. You have given me no trouble recently. I've had a nice quiet couple of weeks.
Good. I started to keep my head down, keep a low profile.
Good idea.
Keep my nose clean.
Sure, some real rock and roll vocabulary immediately there as well, to keep my head down. Basically, as he then explained, to keep a low profile and to keep my nose clean to stay out of trouble, which is not something the Hellraiser is known for. Anyway, Hellraiser, how do we usually start the show?
With a review.
And do you think we have a review?
I'm positive. I'm optimistic. Tell me.
Well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, which is some more rock and roll vocabulary to make you lose your positivity, but we have no review. 2 weeks in a row now, no review.
That is disappointing. What's going on, people? What is going on?
Oh, what has the world come to? Unbelievable. So yes, reviews are welcomed. Real reviews, fake reviews as well. They're all fine as long as they're 5 stars. It makes no difference. Anyway, do you know what we're talking about today, Hellraiser?
I don't today, actually. No, you haven't told me, so I'm chomping at the bit. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, chomping at the bits, like really ready to go, which is kind of connected, I suppose, I think, to today's topic of conversation, which is dogs. Okay, I think everyone knows my feelings on dogs. I thought of this because the last podcast we did, Hellraiser, we briefly mentioned a story about dogs at the end when a dog chased me. So when something chases you, it runs after you. And we didn't really have enough time to expand on that. So I thought, let's fucking do this. Let's dedicate a whole podcast to those furry animals.
Sounds good. Well, it makes you look stupid, so I'm all for exploring that further.
Well, I'm sure you are. Because now I believe you have 2 dogs. Is that right?
I do have 2 dogs. One called Motley and one called Flea.
Flea? What kind of name is Flea for a dog? If people don't know, fleas are the things that generally go on dogs. Those like dirty little insect things. Look, kids have them in their hair. If they don't wash their hair, they might have fleas. And that's what you've decided to call your dog. Well, that's what people say, isn't it?
Did you have fleas as a child?
Not as far as I know, but I didn't have dogs, so...
Right, got you. Well, he's called Flea because when we found him, he was covered in fleas. They were everywhere. So, hence why it's called Flea.
Some real nice rock and roll vocabulary there as well. Hence, basically say that's why he is called Flea. So explain this story to me then. You were walking along with Mrs. Hellraiser in Uganda. You saw a dog covered in fleas and then you took it home. Well,
not really. There's a bit more to it than that. We went to a festival in Uganda called Nyege, and we stayed in a hotel afterwards, and then woke up, still obviously a bit tipsy from the day before, and there was one of the guards downstairs was like kicking around this dog. He was like beating the dog, kicking it around. So then I just said, "Don't do that," and grabbed the dog and took him home with me in the taxi.
Oh, you are such a good Samaritan. So a good Samaritan, a great person. You saved the day. Someone was abusing a dog and then the Hellraiser jumped in. It sounds like a cartoon or something like that.
That was real life, mate. I'm a real life superhero. No need for cartoons.
A real life superhero, absolutely. I can just imagine you jumping in, taking the dog, taking the kicks so the dog didn't get hurt. It doesn't matter if the Hellraiser gets hurt.
Exactly.
He's happy to do it.
Jumped on top of the dog, shielded him, ran away, and now he's the dog Flea is just eternally grateful.
The only thing about this is if you're taking care of the dog, I can imagine the dog's probably in a worse situation now than it was when someone was kicking it.
Wow.
The dog's probably thinking, I really wish I could go back to that old situation. I had it made there. So if you have it made, you have everything.
Send me back. So he does look quite sad most of the time. Maybe that's why. He's just thinking about his past life where he was kicked around and just...
I am laughing, but I just want everyone to know, although I hate dogs, I would never, ever abuse a dog or kick a dog, mainly because I'm scared the dog would kill me. But
you wouldn't be close enough to a dog to be able to kick it.
I would just be running as fast as I could. Yeah,
it's not because you've got anything against animal violence. It's just because you're too scared to get close enough to abuse a dog.
I mean, I just want to underline the fact that any form of violence, with dogs or anything, I'm not okay with that. Okay, because I'm so weak. Okay, maybe if I was bigger, I would like violence, but as it is, I don't really like it.
One time you told me that you'd be really happy if all the dogs in the world died.
Oh, that is fucking bollocks. I never said that. That is just not true.
You did say that.
Anyone that's got a dog, I'm not wishing your dog to die. Okay? That just did not happen. That's just another Hellraiser bullshit story. Anyway, so talking of dogs, because obviously we know I don't like dogs. Obviously, Hellraiser, you do like dogs if you've got 2 of them now. So I thought we could look at the pros and the cons of having dogs. I've got some things here, and then we can just have a chat about it. So, in your opinion, Hellraiser, what are the main advantages of having a dog? What do you get from your dogs?
Just unconditional love.
Oh, that, you know what? That's just the classic. Everyone always says that. That's on my list as well. Unconditional love. I give you unconditional love. Okay? That you get that from me.
There's a lot of conditions. And I don't even get love. It's more just like a lukewarm like.
So some nice vocabulary there as well. Lukewarm, like kind of warm, like. I'm not buying that. So when I say I'm not buying that, I'm not accepting it. I also heard a story once about a famous snooker player in England that his dog got kidnapped. So someone stole the dog and said, basically, if you want this dog back, you have to give me £100,000. So the snooker player said, okay, I love my dog. So he paid the money. And then, so the people said, okay, I'll meet you at this place to give you the dog back. The dog was in a car. They let the dog out of the car, and then it jumped back in the car. So he was waiting there with his arms open to see his dog, like, oh, here's my dog. And the dog jumped back in the car.
Yeah, there's something funny going on there. Maybe the dog was in on the scam.
Maybe. So when he said he was in on it, maybe he was like involved in it. My main thing, one of the things I dislike the most, is the smell. Dogs fucking smell.
Do they? I mean,
yeah.
they don't really smell I don't. My dogs don't smell.
Well, that's because you fucking smell so bad that
Could be.
your dogs are probably smelling you, thinking, "Fucking hell, he fucking stinks."
They do spend a lot of time outside, away from me. It could be. Yeah.
Another one here is that dogs are good exercise because you have to walk your dogs. How often do you walk your dogs? Out of interest, Hellraiser.
Three times a week.
I thought you were going to say 3 times a day. 3 times a week, that's it.
But they live outside. Well, they don't live outside, but they've got a big garden, So they're always running around, jumping, going crazy. They're not inside dogs.
That's totally you, isn't it? You're a free spirit. You're like, if I've got a dog, the dog is free. Just do your thing.
Go free, baby. Go free.
Exactly. What's your attitude, though, to cleaning shit? That's one of the things I very much dislike as well. I see, a very upstanding member of society, a good member of society, not the Hellraiser, obviously, walking along, having a nice walk in the park, and then you see that person literally picking up shit with their hands. I just think, oh, why? What's the point?
Who are these people that you see picking up shit with their bare hands? I mean, they are savages. What are you talking about? Who are they?
So savages, like really disgusting people. I don't know them, but most people, I don't know if you know this, Hellraiser, when the dog shits, they clean the shit. I can imagine your dog shit. You're one of those people, your dog shits in the park and you're just like, fuck it. Shitting's natural. Just leave that shit there.
It's fertilizer. I don't understand the problem. It's good. It's good for the grass.
Yeah, you're probably not the best person to talk to about this, actually.
Although I did. So my mum has got this little dog, which is more like a cat, really. But anyway, so I used to walk it in the park, the back of my house, and. Obviously, because she's an upstanding member of society, she made me bring dog bags out so I could pick up the shit. So I would have to. So then I went once and the dog did a shit and I went to pick it up and then I got it on my thumb.
Oh my God.
And then I looked at it and I could smell it and then just ran over to the bush and was just sick in front of all these dog walkers. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning and they were just looking at me as if I was some kind of fucking psycho.
I mean, you're doing absolutely nothing to convince me that having a dog is a good idea. Although I can imagine as well, you had probably been out the night before. So a hangover plus dog shit on your hand is not a good recipe.
Oh, it's not a good combination. It's probably one of the worst. Could you imagine?
Speaking of small dogs, though, they're normally the worst. They're the most aggressive ones, usually. A big dog, I look at and I think, fuck, that's scary. But, they keep themselves to themselves, which is some nice vocabulary, which means like they don't disturb you so much. But the little ones just go absolutely crazy. The other day I went to the beach. There's a bar there to have a drink with Mrs. Rock and Roll English. And then there was a little dog there. She was playing with the dog, obviously, on the table next to us. And then the man looked at me and said, "You're not scared of dogs, are you?" And then I said, "Yes, I am." And then he said, "What, even little ones like this?" I was like, fuck you. It's a dog. I'm scared of dogs. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. I'm scared of dogs. And small... Anyway, if you want to know, you piece of shit, small dogs are the worst. Is what I wanted to say, but what I actually said was, yeah, even small dogs.
Wow, you really gave it to him.
Oh, he was shitting his pants. And then, like, as well, I could see him laughing as well. He was like, look at that person over there, scared of small dogs. But, respect everyone's fears, okay, is what I want to say.
What does it come from, though? Does it come from some kind of childhood catastrophe where you were... attacked by a dog or something?
Well, many times in my childhood, when I think of my childhood, I remember going to the park and there were lots of dogs let loose there. So when they're let loose, they're not on the leash. So the leash is the thing that you have to like keep your dog under control, and maybe kicking a ball around. And dogs like balls, don't they? They love balls. So I was kicking a football around. Next thing, the dog's running after me. I'm running, crying, like trying to like hide somewhere so the dog doesn't eat me. So it might be that I spent most of my childhood running away from dogs, but we just do not get on.
Yeah, I mean, dogs don't really have like that kind of prejudice against humans. Like they just don't get on with you. I think it's you that doesn't get on with them.
It might be. I don't know what it is, but there's no love lost there, okay? Which is an expression to say, we don't really like each other.
Yeah.
Another reason is because they slobber. So they slobber is like they sort of lick you and stuff like that. It's just, why would you want to lick an animal or let an animal lick you? When I go to Mrs. Rock and Roll English's house, her family house, they've got a small dog, and as soon as she arrives, the dog just starts jumping on her and licking her, and I just say, look, I'm never kissing you again, okay? It's either me or the dog. Make a decision.
Risky one, that. It's a risky one.
Exactly. Yeah. Luckily, I've never actually given her that ultimatum. So an ultimatum is when you give her the choice, because I just don't think I'm going to win it. I'll wait till we get married, and then it will be more difficult for her to choose the dog.
So you're not going to have the rings brought up to the altar for your wedding with the dog?
Well, her family have mentioned that a few times.
Oh God, that would be great! Please do that.
It's just absolutely not happening.
I would fucking love to see you run away from your own wedding.
If the dog rings the rings, that is exactly what will happen. And then Mrs. Rock and Roll English will end up marrying the dog.
I mean, it's great. I'll be happy to be there.
Yeah, so that's definitely not happening. But every time I go round there as well, especially at the moment, it's obviously the summer, so I go round there wearing flip-flops.
Yeah.
The dog starts licking my feet, and I just think, I try not to like make a noise like a girl. I actually want to go like, ah, and scream. But I managed to keep that in me. And then it's the same with all dogs. When they jump on you and then they lick you, everyone says, "Oh, he's so friendly, my dog." I think licking someone is not an idea of being friendly. Next time I come to your house, I'll just start licking you in the face and then just tell you I'm just being friendly. What's the problem?
I'd welcome that. Go for it. Let's just try it.
Yeah, I don't know about licking your face, mainly because I would rather lick the dog than you, because I think the dog's got less diseases.
Put it to the test. I'm open.
Maybe. So what other reasons have we got here? So good for dogs, apparently. Protection. Dogs are good to protect you.
Protect. Sorry, I just sneezed. I think I might be allergic to my own dogs.
You know what? Speaking of that, someone in the Rock and Roll English family mentioned this the other day, actually, that the best solution is just to say, I'm allergic to dogs, because when I tell people I don't like dogs, they look at me and think, oh, you bastard, who doesn't like dogs?
Yeah.
What I should say is just, I'm allergic, so I can't stay near a dog. Get it away from me.
Which is almost, well, it's pretty much true, isn't it? I mean, they bring you out in a rash, they make your heart race, they make you feel physically sick. That is all the categories of being allergic to something. So you are pretty much.
Exactly. So I think that is just what I'm going to say now. Do you have a problem with dogs? Yes, I'm allergic. Get the dog away from me.
Yeah, definitely. Not just, it sounds better than saying, no, I'm a grown man, but I'm terrified of dogs. And I want to let out a small scream every time I see them. It sounds much better.
Well, like I always say, okay, everyone's scared of something. If I had a snake as a pet, okay, let's say you come to my house, I've got a snake. I say, oh, are you scared of snakes? What's the problem? Just, I like snakes.
Cool. I think snakes are cool.
Again, you're not the best person to have this conversation with. So the last one, which we can talk about, I suppose, which again you touched upon earlier. So you mentioned it briefly. Is they say dogs are a man's best friend. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, definitely, I'd rely on Motley and Flea more than you.
But I mean, best friend. That's strong, isn't it? To say my dog is my best friend of all my friends in the world. Someone that can't even speak is my best friend.
I think that definitely, yeah. The fact that friends can speak or humans can speak is quite annoying sometimes. So,
to be fair, when I listen back to some of these podcasts and I listen to my voice, I think, yeah, maybe that can be annoying. So I can feel you there. I feel you.
Good.
Anyway, I think we've come to the end of our dog conversation. As I said, you haven't really convinced me, especially your story, which I didn't know about, of dog shit on your hand and being sick in a bush. It's just dog life. I think I'm okay without it, thanks.
No, I know. Yeah, that was a low point, definitely. My relationship with dogs, but I think it's only going to get better from being sick in a bush, isn't it?
The only way is up from being sick in a bush.
You got it, Bribes.
Exactly.
You got it.
Exactly. Okay, well, thanks as always for your time, Hellraiser.
Pleasure.
And I'm sure we'll see you very soon.
Let's hope so. Take it easy.
Let's hope so. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was me and the Hellraiser speaking about those furry four-legged animals. Let's have a look at some of that rock and roll vocabulary. The Hellraiser said he decided to keep his head down, so to keep a low profile, not get into trouble, and very similar to keep my nose clean. Again, to not get into trouble. Maybe a schoolboy is always getting into trouble, and you say to him, look, just try and keep your nose clean for a bit. Then with the review, I asked the Hellraiser if he thought we had a review. He said, I'm positive. So I said, I don't want to burst your bubble, so to ruin the excitement. But that's what I did. He also said that he was chomping at the bit for the podcast. So when you are chomping at the bit, you're really excited to do something. I'm pretty sure that comes from a dog expression. I'm not sure. It probably has something to do with dogs. Obviously, I've not done the research. I'm just telling you what it means. Then we had the word chase. So if a dog is running and it is running after you, you can say the dog is chasing me. We had the word fleas as well. They're those disgusting insect things that you find in dirty dogs, or maybe on the Hellraiser as well. And he said his dog was covered in fleas, hence why we called it flea. So that word hence, so basically to say that's the reason why. That's actually formal English as well. We had the word Good Samaritan as well when the Hellraiser told us that story about how he saved the dog. And I said, you're such a good Samaritan, such a good person. Then when we were talking about his dog Flea, that was getting kicked, which again I want to say at no point would I ever say that is okay. I find that behaviour disgusting too. Anyway, Flea was getting kicked, and then I joked, I would like to repeat, joked that the dog probably enjoyed life more with that owner than the Hellraiser, and probably thinks I had it made in the old situation. So this term, to have it made, means you have a fantastic situation of life. Let's say my parents are millionaires. I have it made. I have a brilliant situation, but my parents are not millionaires, unfortunately. We had the word lukewarm as well, which is a strange word. I don't know where this comes from. It's like warm, just maybe a little bit less than warm. Lukewarm. I don't know why Luke is involved. Maybe someone called Luke just thought, you know what, I know we have cold, normal, warm. I want something in the middle, so I'm going to call it lukewarm. I'm not sure. But yes, it means like almost warm. And then when the Hellraiser said that I don't give him unconditional life, I said, I'm not buying that. So I'm not accepting that, basically. We also had the word kidnap when I said the dog was kidnapped. So that's when you steal someone or, an animal. Then the Hellraiser said maybe the dog was in on it. So if you are in on something, you're involved in it. Maybe a secret. A few people have a secret and then someone else is in on it. They know about the secret. They're involved. We had the term upstanding member of society. Just memorize that term as it is. Upstanding member of society. A very respectful member of society. Maybe someone like Corporal Coma. Definitely not the Hellraiser. We had the word savages as well when the Hellraiser said, who picks up shit? Who are these savages? So a savage is a really horrible, disgusting person. But I would say the savage is the Hellraiser for not picking up shit. I was then talking about big dogs and I said they keep themselves to themselves. So if you keep yourself to yourself, that means you don't really bother people. You're just quite quiet and do your own thing. We had the word leash as well, which is the thing, if you're walking a dog that you hold and it's also connected to the dog to stop the dog running, that is called a leash. We had the term no love lost when I said there's no love lost between me and dogs. Basically, there's not a good feeling. We had the word slobber as well. Dogs slobber. Let me make a sound of a slobber. That slobber, like spitting on someone, it's a bit disgusting. Then we talked about giving Mrs. Rock and Roll English an ultimatum of either me or the dog. So if you say to someone, it's either me or him, me or the dog, you give someone that choice. That is called an ultimatum. And we also had touched upon when we started talking about a man's best friend. But the Hellraiser had mentioned it earlier. He had touched upon it earlier. Anyway, remember, all of that rock and roll vocabulary is on the website, rockandrollenglish.com, episode number 165. I will see you all again next week, people. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.